Welcome to episode 58 of Crypto City. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have another community favorite on tonight. 2ndLife Rich will be joining us in just a few moments. But before that, some interesting news in AI. Next week, OpenAI is gearing up for some significant rendezvous in Los Angeles, where they're slated to meet with several studios, talent agencies, and media executives to explore potential partnerships. So according to the sources familiar with the matter, Bloomberg reports that one of the primary objectives of these meetings is to introduce, AI to more filmmakers. And Sora is, OpenAI's forthcoming text-to-video generator. So despite Sora still awaiting a public release later this year, a few select A-list directors have been, reportedly granted early access to this technology, hinting at its potential to revolutionize filmmaking landscape. They'll be very interested to see, no doubt, what the shape of movie industry shakes out from that. But this brings up a few very real concerns of, AI and deepfakes. AI-generated deepfakes have become undeniable reality, posing ethical challenges for brands and creators and celebrities alike. While some state-level laws exist to regulate deepfakes, the pace of regulation and legislation often lags behind the technological advances. I mean, we've been seeing things have been moving forward so fast. So to navigate these complexities, some brands advocate for, clear labeling and disclosure of all AI-generated content. So recognizing this importance of maintaining audience trust is very important. The issue isn't hypothetical. It's a pressing concern faced by influential figures like, as well as renowned celebrities such as Jennifer Aniston, Taylor Swift, and Tom Hanks. So this is, really something that the bigwigs are very concerned about, but they are addressing it. And the potential damage caused by unauthorized use of AI-generated likenesses is significant, particularly in an era of rampant social media and the spread of fake news. While state-level laws are in place, like in places like California and Illinois, along with federal-level legislative efforts, the pace is changing, so fast for technology, but the legislation is changing very slow. So they're not keeping up with it. And tech giants like Google and Meta and TikTok have all introduced guidelines for labeling and limiting AI-generated deepfakes, especially in light of impending elections. I mean, this is going to be really interesting how it affects, some of the stuff that you're going to see in these smear ad campaigns. However, federal regulation is yet to be enacted, leaving brands and individuals vulnerable to the misuse of their identities. But let's switch gears and talk about something really amazing in AI breakthroughs. Neuralink, founded by Elon Musk, is on a mission to build an implantable brain-computer interface that can turn thoughts into action. And before everybody, throws their hands up saying, no, this is unethical, it's actually with, really good intent. They've been at it since 2016, claiming that the neural device could help folks with paralysis regain movement and even restore vision to folks who have never had it. It's truly groundbreaking stuff. Their first product, telepathy, is set to let you control gadgets just by thinking. So how cool is that? And with FDA approval in hand, Neuralink's device is about the size of a large coin. It's designed to be implanted into your skull, and with ultra-thin wires, it's going directly into the brain. The vision is that, surgically placing these wires into part of the brain controls movement. So while they just pulled off their mind-blowing live stream today of their first patient using this brain chip to play online chess and a couple of other games solely with mind control. Nolan Arbaugh is paralyzed from the neck down and, from the shoulders down. And he showed off his skills, moving a cursor and diving into chess matches using nothing but his thoughts and the brain implant he received back in January. I mean, this is incredible stuff that we are seeing happen. He reported no cognitive impairments post-surgery, and he was saying it was a piece of cake. He even went on to play online chess and another game for a whopping 8 hours today. That is crazy. And then Elon Musk kind of spilled the beans on Neuralink's next big project, Blind Sight. They're working on restoring vision for people who were born blind. I mean, let's talk about revolutionary right now. This is incredible. This demo is solid proof that brain-computer interfaces are quickly becoming a medical reality, not just science fiction. And this video brings us back to reality, showing that a genuine impact in this technology can have in the medical industry. I mean, imagine, someone who's never seen before being able to just open their eyes and see all of this amazingness. So now, talking numbers real quick, Neuralink chip is estimated to set you back about $10,500 just in exam parts and labor. And with insurance thrown in, you're looking at about $50,000 for this chip. So exciting times ahead, not free, but definitely, stuff is coming more tangible every single day. So speaking of exciting times, we are living in them right now here in VR, and people like my next guest help us enjoy them with some bling, a connection to IRL with fashion, and promoting, promotional clothing, jewelry. He also helps the community with training, and, he's doing a lot of different things. So let's bring out our next guest. Please help me extend a warm welcome to Second Life Rich. Rich, please join us. Hello. Welcome to Crypto
Hey,
City.
how's it going?
Good. How are
Thank you for
you?
having me. I'm doing
Of
well. Thank you for
course.
having me.
So tell us, we're excited to have you here. And, we know you do some really incredible things in the fashion industry in here. I mean, look at what you're wearing right now. But, tell us a little bit about your background before you came into AI. And, does this play a role in what you're doing right now?
Sure. Okay. So I pretty much started building websites around 1999. I got into web development because, well, I started off like with an interest in video game development, but it wasn't really practical for me based on how I wanted to be an entrepreneur also. And so web development gave me something that I could do that I could like kind of freelance on my own. And it's
Mhm.
something that I've done my entire adult life pretty much. Building websites, building plugins for WordPress, but I have pretty much evolved through each of the stages of the web. So when I started building them, we would just write all the HTML and JavaScript on a notepad. But then when Web 2.0 came out, and that's where at the beginning, like I would do freelancing work on pretty much all the CMS platforms, Drupal, Joomla, and WordPress. But I kind of like focused on WordPress because I loved the community behind it. It's a huge community of developers that build plugins and themes and help with creating documentation and all sorts of stuff. So over the years, I've pretty much like mainly made my income offering WordPress development services and also creating WordPress tutorials and building all sorts of stuff related to WordPress. But the metaverse, so one part of it starts from when I was in college. So someone that I was in college with, a good friend of mine named Chris, around 2004, he introduced me to Second Life. And
Mhm.
so I am not a really big social person. I don't have like lots of friends and everything, but I would always pretty much my entire adult life I've always had a Second Life account and pretty much go in there on my downtime tinkering around with it. So I've always been like intrigued with the idea of 3D virtual worlds, and Second Life has always been like a place where I could explore and experiment and pretty much like just uh you know just explore like my interact with other people and things like that when I wanted to, but also do all sorts of things with game development by myself and just tinker. And Yeah, so but when Mark Zuckerberg changed the name from Facebook to Meta, pretty much like everyone that I knew that never liked anything related to 3D virtual worlds or Second Life or anything started talking about the metaverse.
Hmm.
And and
It's
that's what
funny how that
kind of
happens.
yeah, and then that's what kind of got me, like on the path of looking into these other platforms and getting excited about the potential that these platforms offer, and ever since then just trying to just see, learn all I can and see what
Mhm.
I can do and try to find. I really believe that the two-dimensional web is evolving into the three-dimensional, what we call metaverse, and I would just like to exist in the space and play a role somehow. So I'm just looking for ways that I can serve, and and that's what the journey is all about right now.
There you go. I mean, so you have plenty of technical background and skills coming into here, and so your creation and your drive for that, whether it's WordPress or anything else. I mean, that's already in you coming in. You start looking around and seeing the need for, or I should say, maybe the need is also driven by people's desire to want to look
Mm,
better in here. I mean, we've seen so many iterations of avatars over the course of the years. Sometimes they were little stick figures that were not very attractive at all. I mean, we look at what we're wearing now. If you look around the audience, you look at us on stage, we look like
mm,
humans. We look
right,
like we are a real person. And
right,
it's come so far that in some places you can do the face scans to attach. You can also,
hmm,
have, jewelry and painted nails and just everything.
right,
So, I mean, we look a lot more attractive and people see that and they want more of that because this becomes a life that potentially they can't have in real life. I mean, we're not
right,
walking around with bling in real life. I mean, maybe some of us are, but I know I'm not. But you come in here and you can kind of have a little something extra, something special. So tell
right.
us about, the process of you saying, okay, this is a need, this is where I'm going to make my niche in here, and kind of go through this process and start making jewelry, clothing. We see all these different things that you're doing in here. Talk to us a little about that.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to say about it is it's not as well defined and structured as you make it sound. I've pretty much just been stumbling forward best I can. I am so my background with tech, first of all, is I've always kind of considered myself like a tech handyman. Like so in the beginning, like I would even fix and build computers and things like that. And but what I do is I have to make a living, and so I have to earn an income. So I have to always translate my skills into some sort of invoice being paid at some point. Otherwise, the wife gets angry. So I have. So what I do is I try to pay attention to needs that people have. I always consider myself like a servant or a butler or something like that. So I'm always just trying to figure out how can I serve. When it comes to the jewelry, so for starters, I always make tutorials. I've got plenty of YouTube channels making tutorials for everything from WordPress to robotic stuff and Raspberry Pi stuff, all sorts of stuff. And when I started entering into the metaverse, it was no different. Trying to basically just get associated in the space, I start as I learn things, I create tutorials, publish it so other people that are learning can learn from them. And so I started off in Mozilla Hubs making tutorials, and then Dunder Builds came on my podcast and suggested that I come into Allspace VR. And so
Mm.
I come over there, had to learn Unity, had to learn all of the stuff related to Allspace VR. As I learned, I created tutorials. But some people were following me from some of my previous tutorials. And when they saw that I was in Allspace VR, they was like, yo, make wearables, make tutorials for the wearables. So it's like, okay, so I made tutorials for a shirt and hat and things like that. and offering the download on the website, and people started making shirts and having a good time. But then, and I was just planning on keeping that going, and we made a red face bust down watch. Okay, and that was going to be just a regular tutorial item. But when I made the video on it, everyone got excited, and I had never even seen that before because it's a few people that are normally interested in my videos, but most people aren't normally interested in my content. But when I started posting about the watch, all of a sudden,
Mhm.
I got a few more followers. People were liking and commenting and everything, and suggesting like, "Hey, you should turn this into an NFT. You should do this and that." And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. Maybe this is like a little um, indication of it, maybe I should go in this direction. So that was the watch that made Lux VR.
Mhm.
So now, technically, Lux VR is supposed to be. So there's two sides of things. There's the Humai side of things, which is focused on education, and then also the company is Humai LLC. So that's my business. But Humai Club is all focused on education. Well, Lux VR is focused on like service. And so instead of teaching you how to do it, we just do it for you, make sure you got everything you need in order to do what you're trying to do. And and basically just focus on making sure all of your needs are met without you having to think about it. So but yeah, the avatar jewelry works for us because we like to build things that we see, and then also we like to pay attention to little details, and so that comes in handy when in terms of building jewelry. But we've had the challenge of these different platforms and figuring out shaders and all sorts of stuff, so it's a journey. But in terms of like the modeling and everything, we can pretty much match anything that we see, and tend to be creative when it comes to putting symbols together or things like that. So it just kind of works out, I guess, because of that.
So you were doing jewelry, you were doing, the little, finer bling pieces, and how did you end up getting into building the avatars themselves?
Well, so the thing is that we need to have avatars. And so, in order for us to have avatars, I can't wait for someone like Kip to do it because he's busy, and we've got content we want to create, we've got things we want to do, so we've got to roll our sleeves up and learn how to build a lot of our own stuff. Now, honestly, like some things aren't um as sophisticated. Like, I've seen some great avatars here in VR chat, so impressive. We're learning how to do a lot of that stuff, and in time, our avatars will be more sophisticated. But yeah, it's just something that we're having to learn how to do because we want to create quality
Mhm.
content. There's other things that we want to do. And so we mainly focus on building our own avatars when it comes to the avatars. So like people that's part of Lux VR Club. But
Mhm.
when it comes to like the jewelry, pretty much anyone can request that, and we will build avatars for other people. But I normally like to tell people that they would Kip might do a better job on it because he does great on avatars. Him and Meta Jackie are doing is awesome.
You've all got talents, and I mean, look at what you've created. It's amazing. So let me ask you a question. When you're creating all of this stuff, I mean, we've talked on this show a few times about all the different software and programs that people are using. So you already mentioned you're using Unity. Assume you're using Blender as well for
Blender.
this stuff. So
Photoshop.
so all the different, basic software packages that we tell people all the time, these are the ones you need to learn
hmm
in order to create things, to make these digital assets, to bring them in. So you're following right in line with everybody else and learning these
hmm
software. Now, I
Right.
know you do, the training on from the Hume AI side with the with WordPress and a lot of that kind of stuff. Are you also offering trainings when it comes to the creation end of it, or is that kind of just in your tutorials versus actual trainings?
Okay, and that's a really good question. And so first of all, we I used to make the Blender tutorials, right? But then that came to an end. Alt space shut down. All number of other things happened. But during that period, like when after Alt space shut down and I went into spatial, I was about to begin creating tutorials again. But Spatial, like I was going to start creating them on Spatial, but Spatial started creating tutorials on Spatials, and it was making great tutorials. So I was like, well, I don't want to compete with Spatial for tutorials, and I pretty much only like to spend time doing things that are needed. When someone else is doing a good job doing something, I don't really like to compete with it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, when it comes to the Blender tutorials, once again, I got to take my hat off to Kip and MetaJackie. What they're doing with that, like, is
Mm-hmm.
great. I've taken a look at at the classes, and there's nothing no value I would be able to add with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather that if that's what they're going to do, that they do it with the full support of the community and be able to grow that. What I want to offer the community is web development skills.
Mm-hmm.
And so I see so many people in the community building assets, building worlds, offering services, but don't have a website. And so I want to help people be able to monetize by building a professional business presence that they
Mm-hmm.
can be proud of, and they can send their customers to, and they can charge people, and they can build emailing lists and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, and let Kip and Meta Jackie keep teaching people how to be creators. They're doing great with that right now.
They really are. I mean, I'm in the classes and I've learned so much. We're working through our first project of building a house, and I'm like, right
Hmm.
on target with where we're supposed to be. It has been a
Right.
journey. It has been a
Uh-huh.
learning process. It has been Control Z heaven. It's like Control Z, Control Z. Anybody who takes it knows what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
So, I mean, but I will say that I feel like I have learned so much. I understand now when at the first class he was spouting off commands and I was just like, oh, this is going to be just impossible. Now he spouts, I'm like, oh yeah, hold on, I'm there, hold on, I got this. And when I hear
Right.
other people talking, I know what they mean. I mean, I am never going to be an expert in this, but I have a good core fundamental base with it
Right.
now, and I
Yeah.
really am grateful for the fact they were doing that for the community. So we'll talk
Hmm.
more about your education in a minute, but let's go back to, you were talking about people doing great things here in the metaverse. So you've actually connected with someone who's doing incredible things both in real life and in the metaverse. And you've got a little collaboration going on right now with some
Hmm.
very special, talented people. So you've got Naughty by Nature and Illtown Sluggers that you're actually creating both avatars and clothing and everything for them. So let's talk about that amazing collaboration. I
Sure.
know personally, I'm super excited. The first time I met them, they were just doing a Holoport concert in alt space, and I
Hmm.
was
Yeah,
like,
that was cool.
this is
Yeah.
so cool that a celebrity
That
is
was
coming in here and
crazy.
giving us
Yeah.
a show. Like, this
Hmm.
is amazing. And I started, actively following them on Instagram and watching everything they were doing here in the metaverse. And I knew they were committed. Like, that was the greatest thing. And then, they've been on a few of our shows. Like, I know I had a show they were on, Sherwin had a show they were on. They
Hmm.
came on as
Hmm.
guests to talk about what they're doing. And that's just so amazing that they
Yes.
are so community friendly. So
Yeah.
tell us about how you connected with them and what you're doing with their new stuff, because I know Pixel's all about AI. So tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, okay, yeah. And in fact, I've got some exciting stuff to reveal about that. But let's start from the beginning. So once again, I stumble into stuff, and then also the community just pushed me forward in so many ways. I've been so fortunate to have so many connections with great people, And the connection with Naughty by Nature happened through actually two connections. So here's how it happened. Vin posted a picture of the big head slugger chain.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it and I was like, that's pretty dope. I was like, we should build that. And I built it and posted it. And a couple weeks went by and Cyber Shay had asked me, she was like, did Vin ever respond to your video? And I was like, nah, he probably haven't seen it, or whatever. But it's all good. I'm a fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, well, let me talk to Sherwin. So she talked to Sherwin, and then next thing I know, I get a like on the video from Vin and a comment. And so from that point, now Pixel Addict, Pixel Addict I've been talking to here and there for the past couple years. He started off following me on YouTube a couple years ago, and we always kind of like exchanged intentions of doing things together, but it never like fulfilled. You know, but yeah. After that, though, after Vin left the comment, Pixel connected, and then we all had a meeting, and from that meeting it's been on. So the first goals were to get them set up in spatial in spatial because they want to link things to the website, and they
Mm-hmm.
like the ability for people to access it on the mobile phone and all that sort of stuff. So the first goal is to get all the stuff from Artsy. Artsy's real busy, and she was the creator of the original Naughty by Nature worlds. But right
Mm-hmm.
now she's like knee deep in Second Life and busy with other stuff. So she sent me everything for me to bring over for them and help them get all set up. And then we've got a plan for the events and for the merch and for like just all sorts of stuff. And tomorrow is going to be an event. So I just finished up some things in the world and getting things prepared for tomorrow. But tomorrow, me, Vin, Yo Afro, Cyber Shay, we're all going to be in Zoom, and everyone is welcome to come to the avatar party. And Vin's going to, after he picks up his avatar, he's going to come in VR. But first, we're going to start off in Zoom. But the intention is from this point forward for them to just be active in the metaverse, for them to be on people's shows and things like that. So Vin needed an avatar. So he's like, Rich, I need a avatar. It'd be great if I had a photorealistic avatar based on my likeness. And so we've just been
Mm-hmm.
we at Lux VR have just been trying to work hard, get everything together so that they can get back active and get back to being part of the community.
Can't wait. That's going to be
And
great to see that.
yeah, and it's been, once again, a joint effort, a collaboration. Pixel Addict, he shares images and things like that and contributes. And like I said, we starting off with a lot of Artsy's files and things like that as a foundation. So basically just trying to get them back to where they had to leave off at because AltSpace shut down. And yeah, and so from here, it'll be hopefully active again.
And I got a chance to, when you had a little reveal party a couple weeks ago
Hmm.
at Iced Out Thursdays, and we got a chance to see, the new avatars, both Vin and Slugger Bear and everything. And it was just
Yeah.
amazing how much Vin looks like Vin. Like that is the technology now. I mean, it's amazing. He looks
Yeah.
just like him. It's incredible. The Slugger Bear at the event that you had the opportunity for people to click on it and wear the Slugger
Hmm.
Bear avatar, which was
Yes.
really cool. For those of us who are, actual fans of Naughty by Nature and the music
Hmm.
and, love Little Slugger, so it's kind
Right.
of cool that we could actually be doing this here in the metaverse. I mean, I know that next day I was at work telling people, oh my God, last night we had the coolest party. Vinrock was there and
Yeah.
Sluggaberry. And I'm like, look, here's a picture. And they were all like, oh my God, it looks exactly like him. I'm like, I know. I'm like, that's how
That's
good the
good.
avatars are now. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty intense. And you mentioning being over in spatial, and you mentioned coming from alt space, and of course here we are in VR chat as
Our
well.
chat.
So let's kind of touch on that a bit, because the expansion into other platforms, it's not without its challenges. I mean, each
Definitely.
platform has its own technologies and little
Right.
nuances and different things like that. We see, here we have alt space, we've got VR chat, we've got
Hmm.
the different looks there. I mean, how is that for you, switching gears, midstream, like, hey, tonight we're doing all this in spatial, tomorrow we're doing this, and you've got to,
Yeah.
I know you're typically at your events to make sure everything is running
Everything.
smoothly, if there's anything you need to take care of on the fly. So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Well, so it starts off with from the beginning. I've always believed that the metaverse is just the web 3D. But the thing is that each metaverse platform is like a different app or a different website. And that means that each website or each app, they're trying to do something a little bit different. And because of that, I've always felt like I can't just be a builder on one platform. That's not, first of all, it's not safe. Look at what happened with Allspace VR.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing is that each platform has its members that it serves. It has its niche. It has its strengths. And so I don't want to like pick a platform and be like, well, this is the best platform. I want to understand the nature of the platforms, and then I want to be able to have a presence in them and render services to the people in them based on the strengths of that platform. And when it comes to spatial, the thing that is most like closest to dear to my heart about that platform is that it runs in the browser, and I can link to my
Mm-hmm.
world from my web page, and then I can link to my web page from my world. And that's just hands down powerful. And so even though you don't have the best event experience in there and you don't have the best experience with some other things, that it's a really good business platform, a really good platform to use, to be accessible for people that don't have headsets. People being able to just pull out their phone and access your world
The
and
phone,
attend an
yeah.
event. Yeah, it's really powerful. So because of that, I put up with all the nuance of spatial trying to grow and all the bugs and things that
Mm-hmm.
break.
Yes.
I've got some.
We've
I've
all
got some.
been there.
Tomorrow's event is hanging on a thread right now with spatial support team, right? And so
Oh God.
trust me, I get it. Like, and it's real easy to just say, forget about them. But when it comes to VR chat, the capabilities of this platform is just mind blowing, and it gets me
Mm.
excited to just like what's even possible. And so I have to have a presence here in order to even just learn and grow with the metaverse, because this is like I don't think any other platform is as robust as VR chat for VR.
Mm-hmm.
Second Life is probably the most robust metaverse platform, but it's only PC pretty much. But then after that, I think it's probably VR chat if I'm not wrong. And so, but yeah, with each platform, I want to, and not saying I will succeed at it, but I want to have the ability to at least move our assets into there and be able to do basic setups at the minimum. Be able to work with the avatars if we're able to customize them, because that's right now where I see one of the places our value is in being able to supply people with custom body shapes or with jewelry or with clothes that represent their brand. And regardless of the platform they're on, if the platform is capable of our assets going there, I've got to figure
Mhm.
out how to get them in there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And go speaking of, naughty by nature and everything, we see, Yo Afro and Cybershay have been doing their little skit with the follow the backpack, which Yo
Follow the
Afro is wearing
backpack.
out there in the audience right now. There's the whole naughty shorties dresses. There's, the
Hmm.
all the different branded pieces. You're
Hmm.
wearing that.
Right.
You've got the
And
Lux VR Club
yeah.
shirts, like everything for branding. It's amazing.
And and one important thing is that like Yo Afro has that dress. So that dress,
Mm.
when you see Yo Afro in a dress, whether it's the red one, the black one, or when we have these clothes, and so the
Yes.
the the
Mhm.
the idea, the thing that make it special for me is when there's a like a weave between the real world and the digital world. There's the
Agreed.
digital twin. Yeah, and so that's one of the things that we really get excited about at Lux VR is that match between
Mhm.
IRL and the digital.
I can
Yeah.
completely appreciate that. I mean, when we were in alt space and
Hmm.
many of us had clothing created by Ryu over there,
Hmm.
and the
Yeah, see.
first thing that I had him create for me was my favorite silver dress that I had in real life. And like, so
Damn.
it's,
Right.
and I was like,
Yeah.
I want to wear this when I go out to events. And then I ended up wearing it almost all the time because I loved it so
and,
much. But
and how did
everyone would
it
be like,
feel?
oh, that's a pretty dress. I'm like, I have the same one hanging in my closet right now. And people thought I was kidding. So I would take a picture and share it. Like, no, I have a
Yeah.
dress just like this. And it made it special because it was mine.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and people, human beings, one thing that I notice is that when we come into a space like this and we're around other human beings, you want to, as much as possible, represent your persona, represent your personality, represent your brand if you have one, and just kind of like just have an avatar that
Mhm.
make you feel like it's you that's in there. And so when it comes to a lot of the AI generated avatars like from Ready Player Me, although they're cool, their body shapes are all like
Mhm.
canned shapes.
Yeah,
And also the AIs are most of the time, they're never, no matter how good they get, they're never going to spit out anything that's too risky in terms of like whether or not it might be offensive or anything like that. So once you start making
mhm.
certain shapes, it becomes risky in terms of being offensive. And so like
Of
they're never
course.
going to probably offer like too many variations of shapes and things like that. So doing things like that right now is the thing that I think that is the most special to us about it, is trying to help people look and feel like themselves when they're in the
Mhm.
metaverse.
I agree with that. And I think that, that's something that you share with the other avatar creators as well. Like, I mean, Kip, we tell him exactly what we would like to
Yeah.
look like. He does it,
Uh-huh.
and then, the branding, we got the Crypto
Mhm.
City shirt on, he's done a
Mhm.
great job of that for the people that he's created them for. You've done that for yours. And it's a great experience for the customers to be able to literally give you a wish list and receive
Mhm.
that back
And
instead of,
receive
like
it
you
back.
said, with Ready Player Me and stuff. That's great if that's what you want, but if you want something a little bit more elevated, it's awesome that the technology is at that level.
Right.
So your pitches up there right now. We have Cyber that everyone knows, and Brown
Mhm.
Diamond, and so
Mhm.
now you are married to Brown
Mhm.
Diamond,
I
and
am.
we had her
That's
on
my
a couple of
ring.
weeks ago when we were talking about the virtual fitness group with Fuchsia, and she was
Mhm.
on. And so you also, when you're busy doing all the stuff in these platforms, you also jump over and you're part of the fitness group, and you're working out in those platforms as well,
I am.
in,
I
in
am.
our little meta avatars. But
Yes.
so you're also expanding into other VR platforms, maybe not in the creative capacity, but also in the enjoyment and entertainment and lifestyle.
Oh yeah, and let me just say that for our family, VR has been a a huge help. So it started all the way back when my father passed away, and I had to be away from my wife and daughter, and I got them headsets. They didn't have before I had to be away. And
Hmm.
so while I was away, we used to have family time in VR and we would play games and things like that. And now that I'm back home with my wife and our daughter, she's away at college. We still, every weekend, we go in, we play games, or we just sit and talk
Hmm.
about her week and things like that in VR. So we get to keep a sense of presence using these headsets. And now that she's building her business in the metaverse, her Sped by Me business, we all sit in her little world in Horizon Worlds and work on her little world as
I
a
love
family and talk about
that.
her week. But yeah, so when it comes to the reason why I say that is because we apply the VR headsets to so many different things in our life, and fitness
Hmm.
is one thing that has been working out great, and fuchsia is the one that kind of really put us on like the right track when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, the VR workout has been great. We It's convenient, and we've been sharing it with other people. I've got another family member that is becoming mobile and getting healthy, and she's benefiting from the headset as well. Me and my wife, we jump in there with her and help motivate her and everything. So yeah, we love the Fit XR VR workout and some of the other
Love it.
ones as well. Yeah, love it.
I
And
love that.
like Fuchsia says, the sweat is real, but the
It
sweat
is.
is real. The sense of presence is real with this stuff. It's all just it's all been a positive, been a
Yeah.
benefit.
One of my
Hmm.
favorite things about hearing stories is like that is that there's a lot of people out there with the misconception that you put the headset on and you're detached from the whole world and now you're just
Right.
solo and you're alone, and that's so
Hmm.
not true, because you put that headset on and you are part of this giant community. And
Right.
for like what you were just saying, that was a way for you and your family to bond when you couldn't
Hmm.
physically be together.
There.
And I think
Right.
that is actually, COVID is one of the positives that came out of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
was that it pushed a lot of people into this so that people wouldn't be alone, so that people
Right.
could have some sort of interaction with
Hmm.
people and community and
Hmm.
talking and everything else. So and that is
Hmm.
a great a great thing that has come from it, and I love that your
I
family
agree.
together has experienced that. And
Hmm.
speaking of bringing people together, you do iced out Thursdays, and you also have your trainings that you do and different things, and you have to put together a team of people that you're comfortable working with in order to accomplish these things. And you have Flashy, you have Cybershay. How tell us a little bit about how you go about picking the right people for your team, because we've talked about this before on episodes. It's not easy to find someone that you're going to be able to work well with consistently when you're pretty much working only in headset.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And let me tell you something. I could not have picked a Flashy or a Cyber Shay. The value that a Flashy and a Cyber Shay brings to the table, that's like I don't think I would be able to like, influence that on my own anyway. They have a passion for this stuff and they see something in collabing with me that gives them energy. And the only thing I do is appreciate it. I
Mm,
appreciate all that Cyber Shade does. I appreciate all that Flashy does. They work hard. They dedicate themselves. We've been trying to do this for quite some time now, and I feel like we're all getting better. And Cyber Shay is growing, and Flashy is growing on their own in their own ways as well. And I love to see it and support everything that they're
mm.
doing. But what we're doing as a collab, like literally comes out of their heart, and I am just thankful and appreciative. And so we all work hard to do our part, and it just comes together organically.
I like that. I like that. You like you said, they're growing on their own, but what they're
Hmm.
growing with is it's bringing value to you as
Yeah,
an organization working together.
yeah, yeah, and
So
it's and the way that works is it's
mm,
it's a blessing for me.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's just real quickly before we come to the end, I'd like to touch base again on the trainings and the
Sure.
education that you do because I know you're doing some classes over in Horizon,
Right.
and so there's a different platform, a different style of training. Here we have a little bit of your
Hmm.
classroom look, and we see some of our community members that are out in the audience here on this. So just give us just a quick overview if people are interested in joining your trainings, like how would they find out about this and how do the trainings work? Is it, a specified class, just like college where you are, going a certain time every week? Is it a structured group or is it something that, like, oh, and I'd like to learn about this, and people just come in and, you give like on the fly training?
Sure. Okay. Absolutely. Well, so first of all, in order to register, you go to myworkrooms.com. And I like the domain, but technically the workshops are called the Digital Skills Workshop. And eventually there's going to be more than just the WordPress workshop. But right now there's the WordPress workshop. Now, this WordPress workshop is called a WordPress workshop because I'm passionate about WordPress, but technically anyone can come and bring any website related questions, and it's free. So if you go to myworkrooms.com, you can register as a free community member. And if you've got a website project that you're working on, it don't matter if it's a Shopify, if you've been trying to write your own code, or if it's a Weebly, or if it's a WordPress, or you can just come and you can ask questions. You say, "Hey, I'm trying to do this and it won't do it," and then you'll share your screen, and I'll try to help you pass your challenge. Now, if you want to come kind of under the Humai umbrella and be on my server and in my ecosystem of plugins and theme that I pay for the licensing for and all of that because I believe they're good solid resources. If you want to be part of that, then there are two different levels. There's the labs level where under that level is $25 a month and you get managed WordPress hosting, you get Gravity Forms license, you get a Zapier professional membership, and you just only pay for the $25 a month, even though Zapier professional is $49 a month, but I put
Hmm.
you on my team plan. And so but yeah, but basically, you get all of these resources and our workshop, and I call it a workshop specifically, not a class, because classes imply grades, structured curriculum,
Hmm.
etc. Whereas these are workshops. Now, the way it goes is once you become a Labs level member or higher, because there's Labs and then there's Labs Plus. But once you become a Labs level member or higher, you get access to all of the videos, all of the past classes, all of the I've recorded tutorials showing how to do things in WordPress. You get access to all of that, and then also you get to ask questions in the group, and I respond with tutorial videos sometimes or with just the answer. And then every week at 6 p.m. Eastern in Horizon Workrooms, we have our session, and it lasts as long as it needs to last most of the time. Basically, we're just anyone can ask questions, and I'll address them. And if and then sometimes I'll introduce something new. But most of the time, I was introducing the new things in the beginning. Now I pretty much just
Hmm.
do mainly the Q&A stuff, and people that are new can watch the
Hmm.
videos that are in the replay.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. So everybody look into that because we're going to put up Rich's contact information at the end, but definitely, look into that because that is a very valuable resource that's out there for everybody. So I have a couple last questions for you. I want to know First, what do you think the next upcoming trends are going to be that we should be keeping an eye out for that you're seeing out here in the platforms? And what is next for Lux VR Club and, within, VRC and in spatial?
Sure. Okay. So, in terms of the next trends, you mean in terms of like unlocking like new capabilities that's going to come
Yeah,
with the platforms? I know that
exactly. Yeah.
one thing, yeah. So with VR chat, we've got monetization coming. They've got that coming on the way. One thing I'm looking forward to in VR chat is just the ability to share an asset with someone. I would
Mm-hmm.
like to be able to just like give you a fallback avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't because you can't have a fallback avatar unless you upload it through Unity. Like you can't like clone it and it become a fallback avatar. So I would like to be able to deliver. And I've heard that they're going to be making that possible for us to share assets with each other at some point, but nobody knows when. But in terms of what's next for Lux VR, we're gonna so we want to um, continue to develop our ability to host good events, and then also continue to ice out avatars and help people shine. So I'm studying a lot in terms of like the capabilities of what VR chat avatars can do, and so our avatars are going to get better, and once they get better, we get faster at things. Maybe the price will come down or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe we'll be able to spit them out faster, and so maybe grow that side of things. But yeah, just we have right now we have a hip hop opera. So we're building a hip hop opera for Recurby Brown Hines. What? Excuse me, Recurby Hines, who he creates plays and things like that. But we're building the sets and all the avatars and everything. So anyone that wants to participate in that will have an opportunity to do so. I'll be posting about that soon. But basically, we're just like I can't see too far out into the future when it comes to what exact services we're going to offer. I just try to stay on the lookout
Mm-hmm.
for what needs people are having that we can feel. And I know that AI is coming for a lot of the 3D modeling projects, but we're going to be using the AI too. So maybe we'll be able to do things with the AI that the average
Mm-hmm.
person can't do and still have value in that way. But if we're not continuing to do that, it'll be based on some other way that we can serve people and help them with producing their content and if, hosting their events and things like that.
I love that. Thank you for this. Thank you for coming on and talking with us tonight. We're going to put up your contact information. And as always, we'll be putting this video up on our YouTube channel and also in our Discord so that you'll be able to go on there and get a copy of the slides with all the information. And you'll also, we'll have the website on there as well so you can check out for the trainings. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I mean, I've been watching you through all the platforms, get to see everything you've created, and it's been a great journey. And I want to invite you all to come back next week. We will be having Pocky on. He's got some new projects he's been working on that he's excited to share with all of you. And that'll be very interesting. So thank you again for all coming out tonight on your Monday night. We hope to see you again next week. Monday night, it'll be April Fool's Day, but we will definitely be having, it will not be a joke. We will be here having Crypto City. And if for any of you, I see that there's a lot of new faces out in the audience tonight. Before you leave, take a little walk down the hall, go around the corner, and you can see our Hall of Fame out there that Kip built for us to honor all the people who've been guests on the show prior seasons. So if you, as always, if you have somebody that you know of that you think has a skill that you want to see showcased on our show, please let me know. If it's yourself, send me a DM, let me know, and we'll talk. And if it's a good fit, we'll bring you on, and you could be sitting right here where Rich is. So Oh, thank you all. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Monday. Oh, quick shout out to our sponsors. Thank you to Kip VR. Thank you to DJ Marcus. Thank you to Fuchsia and to Sato Mora. Appreciate all of you for supporting our efforts here. We just strive to bring you more of an experience each month. So look forward to more trainings coming up in the future. And I don't know, but maybe we'll have a training in the future for merch. We'll see. Thank you all. Have a great night.
You.
Yo, how y'all sitting down like that, Afro?